What's up, y'all? AWB, I'm back at it. Let's go ahead and get into a couple more videos that I wanted to check out. Uh, I know it's probably early right now, so a lot of people might not catch this stream, but whoever does, you know, I'm gonna sit and wait for a couple people to get in here. Yeah, and then we'll get started. So, so I did a stream earlier today, and I was having issues. So I'm not sure what the issues were, but it kind of I had to start the stream over, so it kind of took out the momentum of the stream. So here I got everything lined up already. So in case something happens, I have things set up in place to, you know, counter that the BS. But yeah, so if you do get a chance to check out this stream, go ahead. My goal is 100 members. I need to say that every video because that is my goal to achieve 100 members. Yeah, I keep providing this content. I'll keep uh, sharing these stories. A lot of people, I put up a post uh, for everyone to send me stories that, you know, with send me stories of their experiences dealing with government, you know, whether it was going to a city hall and or social security office or something like that, and just not being treated well or not being treated with respect, or them saying they would do something for you or, you know, do something on your behalf and they don't do it, and then when you bring it up to them, they give you the runaround and start asking you, oh, well, who said that to you? When did they say it? And this and that. So I noticed that early that government, and not just government, but it could be with different businesses, but they will play games and act like they'll just give you the runaround. Like somebody will tell you one thing and you follow up on what they told you, and then they give you the runaround. Nobody knows what's going on. You know, it's like everybody confused about a situation. And I used to, that really used to upset me because I would take people at their word and think that they would honor their word. But I realized that a lot of people uh, don't do that. So you need an objective record. That's why I started recording. And I used to just have I used to just have my GoPro on at pretty much all times because it's just good to have an objective record and be gathering content of everything for a lot of different reasons, for your for safety, for memories, you know, for learning and education. it's it's just a lot of, it's more, I just see the upside of always documenting versus not, you know. So I know it's early, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. Hold on, let me check to make sure they didn't cut off my stream. Now I realize I gotta, not only I gotta have a stream open just so I know that, my video's still up. All right, so go ahead and get started. Uh, this is North, not, let me not even say that. In NK, if y'all can, you know, read between the lines, NK has, when I start posting content about NK, that country, it suppresses me in the algorithm. So, which is weird because on TikTok, I got videos that have done 50, 40, and 40, 50,000, a few of them on NK. And I also have a video that did 1.6 million for NK. But on YouTube, if you talk about NK, they kind of suppress you in the algorithm. So, which is I don't know why that happens, but it does. So I wanted to share another place that this was the first time I ever heard of this place. And it might be the first time that you've heard of it as well. So I'm going to share this with you. Right now we're at Casual Scholars channel, and the video is titled "The Most Insane Dictatorship on Earth," and it's not NK. NK, I'm pretty sure y'all can guess what those initials stand for, but that's just why I'm going to use those initials.
In 2018, a little-known republic nestled deep in the heart of Central Asia devised what appeared to be a brilliant strategy to halt the widespread exodus of skilled and educated workers, a challenge that afflicts many developing nations worldwide. Its solution was straightforward. It simply stopped allowing anyone to leave, effectively transforming the entire country into a virtual prison twice the size of the United Kingdom. Indeed, Turkmenistan touts itself as a nation of pragmatic solutions. That same year, then-President Berdimuhamedov, attributing bad luck to the presence of black cars, banned their importation. Soon, citizens across the country began waking up to find that their cars had vanished overnight, having been towed away by the authorities. To get them back, owners were forced to pay for a repaint, often at unaffordable prices. Before long, this unusual mandate was extended to include all colored cars. Hence, should you ever find yourself scanning satellite images of Turkmenistan, you'll be met with a monochromatic sea of white vehicles, which just so happens to be the former president's favorite color. But Berdimuhamedov's eccentricities pale in comparison to his predecessor, Niyazov, self-titled as His Excellency, the great leader of the Turkmen and God's prophet on earth. In a grandiose display of concern for his nation's health, Niyazov carved a colossal 37-kilometer staircase into the Kopet Dag mountain range. He mandated that politicians climb it yearly in a so-called health walk, while he watched from above in a helicopter before chastising them at the finish line for their slow pace. Wow. The array of bewildering decrees issued by Turkmenistan's leaders appears limitless. Days of the week, months of the year, breeds of horses, and even craters on the moon have been personally renamed to the preferences of whichever leader is in charge at the time. At one point, Niyazov literally renamed bread after his mother. Another bizarre incident saw him advise citizens to chew on bones to enhance dental health, citing the absence of dogs in dental offices as his justification.
Can y'all think about how crazy
dogs, however, have become scarce in the
He told them to chew on bones for dental health, because dogs never go to never in the dentist's office.
Capital, wow, on account of them being banned for their quote unappealing odor. This prohibition is just one of many in a relentless series of efforts over the last 3 decades aimed at transforming the capital city into an immaculate, pristine, and grand vision of a dictator's personal paradise. Vast neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble to make way for a breathtaking number of skyscrapers, monuments, parks, stadiums, and palaces, each crafted from impeccable Italian marble and then lined with gold. So much marble has been used to build the city that it earned it a Guinness World Record, along with the largest indoor pool, the largest indoor Ferris wheel, the largest architectural star, and the most fountain pools in a public space, an irony given the country's severe water scarcity. But beyond the grandeur of its gleaming marble city and the often comical antics of its leaders, little about Turkmenistan is amusing for those forced to live within its borders. In August 2023, a distressing scene unfolded in the extensive cotton fields of Turkmenistan's Lebap province. Beneath the sweltering heat exceeding 104 degrees Fahrenheit, tens of thousands toiled tirelessly by hand to gather the annual cotton harvest. While the sight of diligent laborers in cotton fields is not by itself unusual, the composition of this workforce was anything but ordinary. Instead of seasonal agricultural workers, this vast sea of labor comprised teachers, doctors, lawyers, flight attendants, state workers, and even school children, none of whom were there by choice or paid. Under a presidential decree, both state agencies and private companies forced half of their staff to pick cotton during the week, with full participation required on weekends. Facing the risk of public humiliation and job loss, a daunting prospect in a country with a staggering 70% unemployment rate, workers reluctantly.
That is wild. 70% unemployed. Wow. How did that work?
Complied as they struggled to meet their daily cotton quota of 55 pounds. Ever since gaining independence from the
55 pounds of cotton. Do you know how much you have to pick to equal up to 50 pounds of cotton? This is insane. This is on par with and maybe worse than NK. The only thing that I haven't heard so far is what they do to you if you don't follow all the rules.
The Soviet Union, Turkmenistan's leaders have painstakingly reinstated Stalinist rule. Today, the country stands as one of the last true totalitarian dictatorships. Secret police resort to torture and use psychotropic drugs against political opponents. Those perceived as enemies of the state are publicly paraded on live television, coerced into confessions, and forced to beg for mercy to spare their families from similar fates. Afterwards, they vanish without a trace. Mere criticism of the government in any form is deemed treasonous, often resulting in lengthy prison sentences, confinement to psychiatric facilities, or exile to the desolate salt flats by the Caspian Sea. The level of repression is so extreme that last year, Turkmenistan was ranked as the second worst country in the world for freedom, a position even lower than Taliban-controlled Afghanistan, war-torn Eritrea, and the infamous North Korea. But with the transition of power from Berdi Muhammadov to his son in 2022, marking Central Asia's first hereditary secession since the era of the Khans, hope for improvement in the near future has all but been extinguished. It's hardly surprising then that many are desperate to leave in search of a better life elsewhere, assuming the government does not successfully stop them first. But how did Turkmenistan become such a dystopian nightmare? How do its leaders maintain such an absolute grip on power? And where does the seemingly endless supply of money that sustains the regime come from? This is a story of Turkmenistan, the strangest dictatorship in the world. Today's video is sponsored by War Thunder, the unrivaled king of vehicles, tanks, masterpiece, completely logical journey. There's others to Series X and S. You're signing up for the first time. Package 1,000 silver offer. Russian military forces began a severe bombardment of 1879. Russian military forces began a severe bombardment of Göktepe, a city encircled by a formidable wall made out of mud, 18 feet thick and 10 feet tall, sheltering 40,000 Turkmen. Despite their technological advantages, the Russian troops, limited in number and supplies, suffered heavy losses in their frontal assault on the city, forcing a strategic retreat to their base on the Caspian Sea. Driven by objectives to secure its southern frontier, advance its economic interests, and enhance its global stature, Russia had been gradually expanding its dominion over Central Asia. But the humiliating defeat at Göktepe marked Russia's first major setback in its imperial goals in 164 years. Located at the southern fringe of Central Asia, Göktepe was located in what is today modern Turkmenistan. The area was primarily inhabited by nomadic tribes who roamed the extensive Karakum Desert, subsisting on livestock herding and raiding passing trade caravans. Despite the harshness of their existence, these tribes earned a reputation for their fierce resistance to external powers and their involvement in the slave trade, a brutal reality that some of the encroaching Russians experienced firsthand. Recognizing Göktepe's strategic importance for conquering the rest of the region, Russia began a more calculated second attack 2 years after their initial defeat. On January 12, 1881, they detonated a tunnel packed with thousands of kilograms of explosives beneath the city's wall. This created a 140-foot wide breach in the city's defenses, enabling Russian forces to flood in. Following a ruthless massacre of the city's residents, the rest of Central Asia soon fell to the Tsar. Over the next 4 decades, Russia made little effort to assimilate the region or its inhabitants into the empire. Although railroads expanded and new cities like Ashgabat emerged, spurred by an influx of Russian migrants, the region's predominantly desert terrain, making up 90% of its geography, hindered any real development. By the eve of World War I, the industrial sector remained modest, comprising only a few cotton gins, leather processing facilities, and a single steam engine manufacturing plant. By 1916, amid the escalating challenges of a war turning against him, Tsar Nicholas II made the controversial decision to conscript Turkestani Muslims who had until then been exempt from military service. This decision, combined with a corrupt and oppressive local government, ignited widespread revolts across Central Asia, further fueled by the Russian Revolution the following year. For 8 years, the region was engulfed in severe turmoil, featuring a mix of warfare, revolution, famine, and devastating reforms. Eventually, the Soviet Union emerged from the ashes of the Russian Empire, forcefully bringing Central Asia along in its socialist transformation. By 1924, the last major remnants of resistance had been crushed, and Central Asia was reorganized into distinct ethno-national political entities. Among these, the Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic was formally established. In line with the sweeping changes occurring across the Union, the state confiscated all land and forcibly integrated the nomadic population into state-run and collective farms. Concurrently, the government introduced a standardized Turkmen written language and established numerous publishing houses and schools. These initiatives were designed to boost literacy rates, reduce intertribal conflicts, and align the population with Soviet ideals. These measures, together with the violent suppression of political dissent, transformed Turkmenistan into a docile, isolated, and largely overlooked republic within the Soviet sphere. Despite this, several key developments heavily influenced its evolving character. The first of these occurred during the Second World War, as German armies captured significant parts of the Soviet Union's industrial heartland. Many industries were relocated to safer locations, including Central Asia. Turkmenistan received 2 oil processing plants from Azerbaijan, a metal processing plant from southern Russia, and approximately 24 textile plants. However, due to limited infrastructure and an underdeveloped energy sector, these developments were relatively modest compared to the other republics. Following the war, Turkmenistan remained under-industrialized due to a policy of regionalization. This policy allocated distinct economic roles to each republic based on their unique resources, geographical advantages, and workforce capabilities, all aimed at enhancing the Soviet Union's collective economic performance. More importantly, though, it deliberately made each republic economically dependent on the rest of the Union, thereby reinforcing centralized control. While Turkmenistan's harsh natural conditions were generally unfavorable for many types of economic activities, they were uniquely suited for the cultivation of cotton, a commodity in which the Soviets were determined to achieve self-sufficiency. However, the country's lack of significant water seemed to make the dream of transforming Turkmenistan into a cotton powerhouse unobtainable. That changed when Soviet planners designed what would become one of the largest canals in history. Construction of the Karakum Canal began in 1954, and by 1967, it was channeling 3.2 cubic miles of water annually from the Amu Darya River almost to the Caspian Sea, tripling the republic's arable land and its cotton production. Cotton harvests eventually became so immense, it led to the use of forced and child labor to compensate for the republic's limited workforce. By 1988, children were missing up to 68 school days a year to work in the cotton fields. Due to the policy of regionalization, 97% of the cotton was
Wow, so they took the kids out of school just to produce this cotton. That's insane.
then shipped directly to Russia of region 68 school days a year to
68 school days a year. So how many days is a actual school season? That seemed like that's over 2 months out the school semester or the school uh, out of their school year. That's a lot. And to think, and we think, okay, 2 months out of school, while we was in school, that's great. We had all the breaks. We had this vacation or this time off, teachers work day. We got holidays off and all this. And we going out to have fun. We having summer break. We out to have fun, and kids here are having to do hard labor and pick cotton for during that time that would be our summer break. That's crazy.
To work in the cotton fields. Due to the policy of regionalization, 97% of the cotton was then shipped directly to Russia for processing, which left Turkmenistan excluded from the industry's value-added benefits and employment opportunities. A similar pattern emerged with the surprising discovery and exploitation of Turkmenistan's most vital resource, natural gas. The first deposits were initially found in the 1930s, but it was not until the 1960s that the republic's truly enormous reserves were confirmed. With an estimated 50 trillion cubic meters of natural gas, Turkmenistan found itself holding the fourth largest reserves in the world and the second highest on a per capita basis. By the mid-1980s, production had soared to 72 billion cubic meters annually, second only to Russia itself. Just as with cotton, all of Turkmenistan's natural gas was transported to Russia for processing through a single pipeline. Consistent with the Soviet strategy of subsidizing its economy with artificially low-priced energy, Turkmenistan received only 6 kopecks per thousand cubic meters of gas, a rate that was 300 times less than global market prices. In effect, Turkmenistan was essentially being stripped of its natural wealth for the benefit of the other republics. As a result, by the late 1980s, Turkmenistan's per capita income stood at only 70% of the Soviet average, with most of the population living below the official poverty line. Although social indicators had improved from the pre-Soviet era, with notable successes such as achieving full literacy, the republic still suffered from low life expectancy and the highest infant mortality rate in the Union. Further complicating the picture, though, was the leadership's tendency to inflate these figures to enhance their status within the Communist Party. This malpractice led to the removal of Turkmenistan's first secretary in favor of Saparmurat Niyazov amid a 1985 anti-corruption crackdown. Born in 1940 in a small village near Ashgabat, Niyazov was orphaned after the Second World War claimed his father, and a devastating earthquake took his mother and 2 brothers 6 years later. Raised by a distant relative, Niyazov excelled academically, pursued electrical engineering, and joined the Communist Party in 1962. He quickly rose through its ranks, supported by his affiliation with the Teke, the republic's dominant tribe. Upon becoming first secretary of Turkmenistan, Niyazov transformed the Turkmen Communist Party into one of the most rigid and conservative factions within the Soviet Union. Confronted with widespread shortages, economic stagnation, and social reforms that spurred turmoil in other republics, Niyazov gained notoriety for his ruthless oppression of any unrest. Despite these conditions, resistance within Turkmenistan was surprisingly minimal, due in part to the predominantly rural and agricultural nature of its populace. Shaped by decades of Soviet influence, a deep-rooted conservatism fostered a culture of acquiescence to authority. Additionally, Turkmenistan's lack of history as an independent nation-state prior to its incorporation into the Russian Empire meant there were few nationalistic impulses to fuel dissent. Combined with fears of economic collapse, these factors united the population and leadership in their support for maintaining the Union and their place within it. Therefore, by the early 1990s, Turkmenistan remained largely insulated from the sweeping political and economic reforms affecting the other republics. However, as the Soviet Union began to unravel in 1991, Turkmenistan was reluctantly pushed toward independence, officially declaring its sovereignty on October 27, 1991. On the day Turkmenistan marked its independence, the nation also witnessed its inaugural presidential election, where Niyazov clinched 98.3% of the vote, an unsurprising outcome given he was the only candidate. 2 months later, the Communist Party of Turkmenistan formally disbanded, but this move was merely symbolic. The party simply renamed itself the Democratic Party of Turkmenistan, undergoing minimal actual change. As president of the newly independent nation, Niyazov maintained Soviet-era control mechanisms while most former Soviet republics were embracing major reforms. Under his leadership, the economy was kept under total government oversight, with comprehensive controls over prices, wages, exchange rates, and international trade. By May of 1992, under Niyazov's directive, Turkmenistan adopted a new constitution. Ostensibly, it established a presidential republic with checks and balances and guaranteed freedoms of religion, expression, and property. In reality, however, it cemented Niyazov's complete authority over all aspects of Turkmen society. Leveraging his monopoly over broadcast media and the press, they were transformed into the official mouthpiece of the Turkmenbashi, a term translating to the great leader of the Turkmen, which Niyazov had adopted as his new title. As cities, geographical landmarks, and infrastructure were renamed in honor of the Turkmenbashi, a widespread cult of personality began to take shape. When confronted with comparisons to Stalin, Niyazov remarked, "But Stalin achieved his personality cult through repressive measures, whereas I achieved my popularity without conflicts." Alternative parties were banned as soon as they met membership criteria. Political opponents were eliminated by the secret police, and external information sources were banned or heavily censored, systematically isolating the population from the outside world. Niyazov justified these actions by arguing that economic stability must precede political diversity to prevent descending into anarchy. He claimed that with a decade of his leadership, Turkmenistan would avoid such a fate and enter an economic golden age. His plan for doing so was straightforward. With complete control over the world's fourth largest natural gas reserves and the ability to sell it at prices 300 times higher than during the Soviet era, Niyazov could appease Turkmenistan's modest population of 4 million by offering free gas, electricity, water, and heavily subsidized food. At the same time, he could enrich himself in the political elite.
So basically, that's the government saying, hey, I'm going to take care of you. You won't have to worry about nothing. But in order for that to happen, you must give up all your rights. You must be under our rule. You must do everything we say, and you cannot deviate from whatever we tell you to do. You know, but we'll take care of everything for you. You know, you just have to be the slave. That's pretty much what the government is telling them. And that's the issue that people have with Democrats in the states, because the Democrats, what people believe the Democrats do is they push that agenda. Oh, we'll take care of you. We'll provide this program. We'll do this program. But, you know, in the shadow, in the thing that's not seen, they're stripping away rights, you know, they're stripping away your rights. And now you have to give up all your information. Like if you ever had to apply for any government program, you know that you have to give up all your information, down to like all your information. They have to know almost everything about you, everything in your household, everything, for them to help you. And I'm seeing the same thing here, but on a massive scale.
Elite while maintaining an extensive security and propaganda apparatus to ensure his continued rule. But despite Niyazov's optimistic plans, Turkmenistan's economy was entering a death spiral.
Yeah.
Over 6 relentless years, the nation's economic output dwindled to less than half of its 1991 level. The fundamental issue,
and that's the thing, they say, okay, and this is the issue that people have, is that The government promises to just take care of you, and we're gonna do everything. And when you that's what happened when it goes into play. You have a downward spiral like this.
It dwindled to less than half of its 1991 level. The fundamental issue facing Turkmenistan was the mismatch between its political independence and its economic autonomy. Stemming from the Soviet policy of regionalization, the country lacked the capacity to refine its raw resources and the infrastructure to sell its goods outside of Russia. This economic isolation is highlighted by the lack of even a railway link to neighboring Iran, despite its lands being just 15 miles from Ashgabat. Consequently, Turkmen gas and cotton could only be transported, sold, and processed through Russia. Amid these constraints, Russia exploited Turkmenistan's dependency by purchasing these commodities at significantly lower prices than those on the international market, paying with hard currency for only 50% of this already reduced value. The remainder was frequently paid in goods such as grain, and sometimes not at all. To further enhance its profit margins, Gazprom, Russia's state-owned energy giant and the exclusive buyer of Turkmen gas, strategically limited its purchases to 11 billion cubic meters per year, merely an eighth of Turkmenistan's pre-independence production levels. In 1997, the situation became dire as former Soviet republics, grappling with financial constraints, halted their gas payments entirely. Confronted with outstanding payments amounting to a staggering 80% of its GDP, Turkmenistan ceased gas exports entirely. Meanwhile, cotton production suffered a catastrophic 50% decline. The lack of hard currency severely restricted the import of essential supplies like fertilizers, tractors, and cotton picking machines, crippling the agricultural sector. This crisis was exacerbated by Niyazov's policy of making water free for citizens and farmers, which removed incentives for its efficient use, leading to severe water shortages and a 43% drop in output per acre over 7 years. With both of its key industries in ruins, the population's living standards began to deteriorate, threatening the stability of the regime. But the solution to these challenges was surprisingly simple. The country needed access to global markets by building alternative natural gas pipelines and railroads to bypass Russia's monopsony, a monopoly on the demand side of a market. Developing such infrastructure would bring in a surge of hard currency, which could then be strategically used to address input shortages and establish value-added industries for its raw resources. In 1996, the first rail connection with Iran was established, providing access to the Persian Gulf. The following year, a 125-mile pipeline was built to connect Turkmenistan's gas fields to Iran's remote northeast. Despite its modest annual capacity of 4 billion cubic meters, actual exports seldom reached even a third of this capacity, also hindered by Iran's ability to make payments. Building on these initial developments, a more ambitious proposal surfaced. A pipeline intended to transport 33 billion cubic meters of gas over 1,000 miles to Pakistan and India. But the route's need to traverse Taliban-controlled Afghanistan ultimately made the project unfeasible. A more promising proposal was the Trans-Caspian Pipeline, intended to transport gas beneath the Caspian Sea through Azerbaijan and Georgia to Turkey and onward to Western Europe. Yet maritime disputes with Azerbaijan stalled negotiations over transit fees, and financing issues indefinitely postponed the project. Despite these setbacks, the discussions led to significant diplomatic outcomes, including a meeting between Niyazov and US President Bill Clinton. These talks focused on energy deals and strategies for accessing global markets without depending on routes through Iran or Russia. Although these plans faltered as well, they were enough to compel Russia to sign a far more favorable gas agreement with Turkmenistan, driven by concerns over losing its influence over the country and the broader region. As the volume and value of gas exports to Russia skyrocketed, Turkmenistan's persistent trade deficit turned into a surplus by the year 2000. This turnaround was complemented by efforts to construct modern textile factories, repurpose farmland for domestic food production, and renovate an old Soviet oil refinery. These initiatives collectively fueled an enormous economic boom, positioning Turkmenistan as one of the fastest-growing economies on the planet. As the new century dawned, Niyazov would leverage these surging revenues and his extraordinary political strength to usher in his own personal utopia. On December 28, 1999, a newly elected parliament, composed solely of candidates handpicked by Niyazov, bestowed upon him the title of President for Life. Liberated from the need to even fake fair elections, Niyazov began to fully act upon his grandiose delusions. Assuming the role of spiritual and cultural arbiter of the Turkmen nation, Niyazov banned ballets, operas, beards, and cinemas for being insufficiently Turkmen, and closed all schools offering education in foreign languages. Additionally, he demanded that all state employees prove Turkmen racial purity traceable back 3 generations, prompting a mass exodus of the highly skilled Russian population. Following a personal health scare involving heart issues, Niyazov banned public smoking and constructed the infamous 37-kilometer Walk of Health, mandating that Turkmen citizens and politicians complete it annually. In 2001, he introduced his 400-page Runama, a pseudo-national Bible that emphasized Turkmen nationalism. Within its pages, Niyazov was depicted as a godlike figure who saved the nation from Soviet imperialism and was destined to usher in an era of prosperity. Initially dominating the shelves of bookstores and the desks of state offices, the Runama soon became required in mosques and churches, placed alongside every Quran and Bible. Its teachings were then integrated into the national education system, becoming not just required reading, but the central component of the curriculum. Prisoners were forced to swear an oath on it for release, doctors had to pledge their allegiance to it, and drivers, teachers, and civil servants were forced to pass examinations on its content. Those caught criticizing the book, even privately, faced up to 5 years in prison. As Niyazov's assertions about the Runama grew increasingly bizarre, he declared that reading the book.
So anytime that they make it, anytime where you criticize the government and, you know, they punish you for it, you know what type of, that's a dictatorship, you know. And in my opinion, if you ever criticize or just speak negatively towards the government and they punish you or make your life or make you suffer in some type of way, then you are in a dictatorship. And we see that happen in the state. We see that happen, you know, in the United States. In the United States, they limit you for free speech. They attack you for free speech. And when you speak up and you loud enough to where a lot of people can hear you, they do their best to silence you.
Book 3 times would guarantee entry into heaven. Then, in a symbolic gesture of its supposed universal significance, a copy of the Runama was even launched into orbit, intended to, quote, conquer space. The book thus became the linchpin of a now perfected brainwashing apparatus. Across radio, television, and the newspapers, the Turkmenbashi, his family background, and his various supposed achievements were incessantly praised. Every broadcast began with an ominous pledge that the broadcaster's tongue will shrivel if he slanders the country, flag, or president. The cult of personality surrounding Niyazov reached such extremes that days, months, and even bread were renamed in honor of him, his mother, the Runama, and other symbols of Turkmen nationalism. His image saturated public and private spaces alike, displayed in enormous portraits and statues across the country and on every banknote, coin, and postage stamp. Even airplane cabins and passenger trains were required to feature his portrait, ensuring a constant, omnipresent reminder of his rule. But Niyazov's most ambitious endeavor was the transformation of Ashgabat into a testament of his wealth and power. Ignoring the potential for these vast gas revenues to improve the general welfare, he chose instead to import Italian marble for the construction of lavish monuments, gigantic mosques, luxury apartments, and gold-domed palaces for himself. Additionally, billions were blown on seemingly whimsical projects like an enormous desert lake that quickly evaporated, extravagant fountain displays, zoos with Arctic animals, and a towering 200-foot-tall arch topped with a gold statue of himself that rotates with the sun. In a striking example of excess, the city's main avenue was lined with 22 five-star hotels in a country that rarely allows visitors. To accommodate these prestige projects, entire neighborhoods were demolished, often without offering compensation or adequate alternative housing to the displaced residents. Hidden behind the unaffordable.
That's insane. They would destroy entire neighborhoods, entire communities to build these lavish palaces, and the people weren't compensated. They just tore down everything and like just that is crazy. Like they just tear down everything and y'all go find somewhere else to live. That's how they treating their own people.
Affordable marble apartments. Growing slums were filled with windowless, single-room homes, some crudely fashioned from old railway containers that baked during the scorching summers. Many inhabitants of these areas succumbed to opium addiction, a situation worsened by the unchecked influx of drugs from neighboring Afghanistan. In rural areas, remnants of Soviet-era policies persisted, with forced and child labor still prevalent in the cotton fields, creating a stark contrast between the opulent displays of wealth and the harsh realities faced by the general population. But resistance to Niyazov's regime from the general population remained virtually non-existent, despite the widespread unemployment and low wages that plagued the economy. Free gas, electricity, and water, along with heavily subsidized prices for food and other essentials, helped to quell discontent. This, coupled with relentless propaganda and a pervasive climate of fear, effectively stifled any grassroots opposition. But the situation.
Yep. So they say we'll provide you gas, food, and water, and water. You know, so you don't get too upset. You know, we'll just displace you and have you living, you know, in the worst place ever. But we'll subsidize your food, give you free water and light, and that makes up for everything.
Escalated dramatically on the morning of November 25th, 2002, when Niyazov's motorcade was ambushed, leading to a deadly shootout. This failed assassination and coup attempt triggered a sweeping purge of political elite and citizens alike. Hundreds of individuals and their families were subjected to show trials, received lengthy prison sentences, and subsequently vanished without a trace. In an atmosphere thick with paranoia, informers were recruited to eavesdrop on private conversations, psychotropic drugs were used to torture detainees, and roadblocks were established every few miles as a permanent measure. Car radios were banned to reduce background noise during surveillance, and all public gatherings, including weddings and funerals, now needed government approval. Further restrictions limited citizens' ability to leave the country, notably prohibiting women.
We gotta back this up. This is insane. So they drug people. They so paranoid. They don't even want you listening to music in your car.
Eavesdrop on private conversation are thick with and subsequently vanished without a trace. In an atmosphere thick with paranoia, informers were recruited to eavesdrop on private conversations, psychotropic drugs were used to torture detainees, and roadblocks were established every few miles as a permanent measure. Car radios were banned to reduce background noise during surveillance, and all public gatherings, including weddings and funerals, now needed government approval. Further restrictions limited citizens' ability to leave the country.
This is what the bootlickers are asking for. The people who go against what I do and the things that I say and the things that I show on my channel, this is what they're asking for. If you're not asking for freedom, if you're not supporting somebody who is advocating for freedom, then this is what they're advocating for. You know, this is what they want. And I don't know anybody who is saying who would ask for this, who would support this.
Notably prohibiting women under 35 from traveling abroad unless they had 2 children, framed as a duty to perpetuate the Turkmen race. With his death in 2006, Niyazov left behind one of the most repressive totalitarian regimes on the planet. Citizens had virtually no rights. The average monthly income was a mere $60, and the few positive legacies of the Soviet era, healthcare and education, had all but been dismantled. Across the country, all hospitals, kindergartens, and libraries outside of the capital were shut down. Thousands of healthcare workers were replaced with untrained military personnel, the mandatory years of schooling were reduced, and hundreds of thousands had their pensions canceled or dramatically cut. As these measures plunged the population deeper into poverty, reports indicated that a significant portion of Turkmenistan's annual gas revenues, estimated at nearly $2 billion, were being diverted into the personal offshore accounts owned by the president. Despite leaving behind a substantial and potentially explosive power vacuum, having not named a successor to his all-encompassing cult of personality, there was a sense of cautious optimism upon Niyazov's death. This wasn't due to confidence in whoever would come next, but rather from the stark recognition that circumstances could hardly get any worse. On December 21st, 2006, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov was appointed acting president, a decision that took everyone by surprise. According to the constitution, this role should have been filled by Ovesgeldi Atayev, the chairman of the People's Council. However, Atayev was quickly disqualified following a sudden and suspicious criminal investigation that led to his imprisonment. Berdi, who had previously served as Niyazov's personal dentist, had risen through the ranks of the political hierarchy to become the deputy chairman of the cabinet of ministers, where he was involved in dismantling the free healthcare system. While there were rumors that Berdi might be Niyazov's illegitimate son, it is more likely that he was chosen by the elite as a safe candidate who could maintain the status quo and ensure a smooth transition of power. In 2007, Berdi was elected president in an election widely regarded as rigged, flouting constitutional rules that barred the acting president from running. Inheriting the same absolute power as his predecessor, Berdi quickly began to reverse many of Niyazov's most extreme decrees, ushering in what he termed the era of New Renaissance. He reinstated pensions, sickness and maternity benefits, and lifted bans on opera, cinema, and ballet. He also reopened hospitals in the provincial areas and restored the original number of mandatory school years. Additionally, he reversed many of Niyazov's controversial renamings, including those of days and months. The Runama was phased out from public and educational spheres, and most of the portraits and statues of Niyazov were removed. However, these symbols of the past leader were gradually replaced with images and writings of Berdi, as he began to cultivate his own cult of personality. But the most important early development in Berdi's reign was the construction of a new gas pipeline in 2009. Spanning well over 1,000 miles, this pipeline traversed Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, ultimately reaching China. By 2015, 2 additional pipelines were completed to China, collectively boasting a capacity of 55 billion cubic meters annually, surpassing any volume previously imported by Russia. This new connection to the Chinese market proved crucial for Turkmenistan when, in 2009, a combination of a Russian pipeline explosion and a sharp decline in European demand due to the financial crisis led Russia to significantly reduce both the volume and price of the Turkmen gas it purchased. This reduction swiftly strained relations, leading to a rapid deterioration in the trade relationship between the two countries. By 2015, China was purchasing 95% of Turkmenistan's gas exports. From 2007 to 2014, this shift in trade partners significantly boosted Turkmenistan's economy, which grew by a staggering 19% annually. The economy more than tripled in size, with annual revenues from gas exports alone approaching $10 billion. These revenues, bolstered by additional Chinese financing, enabled Bertie to follow in Niazov's footsteps, blowing money on marble prestige projects, diverting funds into his private accounts, and implementing bizarre policies. This included a ban on satellite dishes and air conditioners in the capital because Bertie deemed them ugly, while he commissioned the construction of more monuments, personal palaces, and gold statues depicting himself, his horses, and his dogs. He also launched the development of the Avaza tourist zone on the Caspian Sea, envisioned as a Turkmen version of Las Vegas. This ambitious project included casinos, resorts, convention centers, sports complexes, and water parks, all of course made out of marble. Additionally, he oversaw the construction of a new $2.3 billion airport shaped like a falcon, designed to accommodate 14 million passengers annually as part of his plan to diversify into the tourism industry. He did not, however, make it easier for tourists to enter the country. Only 10,000 people are allowed in each year, most of whom are oil and gas experts. In 2012, claiming to usher in the era of might and happiness, he was re-elected with an implausibly high 97% of the vote. But Turkmenistan's excessive reliance on gas revenues quickly ushered in a period of shortages and stagnation instead. The impact of the shale revolution in the United States, coupled with OPEC's strategy to increase energy production to defend its market share, caused oil and gas prices to plummet. Turkmenistan's exports halved, wiping out a fifth of its economy. A budget surplus of 10% of GDP
Yeah. So the big issue that they have is that when they actually find a solution to a problem and have an influx, like have a boom season, what they do with their boom season is build palaces and import Italian marble instead of continuing to find solutions for future problems.
quickly turned into a 3% deficit, severely restricting the government's ability to import essential goods. This drastic economic downturn resulted in widespread shortages of basic necessities such as flour, cooking oil, and sugar, causing rationing and rising instances of starvation. Furthermore, mass layoffs in state-owned industries propelled the unemployment rate to an alarming 70%. In response to this crisis, the government permanently revoked citizens' free access to essentials and resorted to stealing funds from the population. For 6 months in 2017, 20% of monthly salaries from employees in the oil and gas sector were deducted to finance the hosting of the Asian Indoor and Martial Arts Games. In 2021, school administrations went as far as forcing orphans to redirect state-provided funds intended for their personal support to pay for school renovations. Moreover, the practice of forcing tens of thousands of students and workers to participate in unpaid cotton harvesting has continued unabated, persisting even today. During Bertie's tenure, there were no notable advances in political and social freedoms. The government continued to suppress or forcibly disappear political dissidents, and regular purges were conducted to eliminate perceived threats within the party. Access to external information was further restricted, travel constraints were tightened to stem the outpouring of skilled workers, and corruption ran rampant. By 2018, it was reported that officials had accumulated $23 billion in offshore accounts. Contrary to the prevailing belief that Bertie would remain in power until his death, he surprisingly stepped down from his leadership position in 2022. This move cleared the path for his son, Serdar, to successfully run for the presidency, securing a 73% majority in an election widely regarded as predetermined. Pledging to uphold his father's policies, Serdar's reign began on strong footing. Propelled by geopolitical tensions and China's emergence from lockdowns, natural gas prices and revenues began to surge once again. But Serdar's leadership was short-lived. Doubts about his ability to steer the nation through a period of renewed interest in its gas resources began to emerge among the Turkmen elite, including his father. Just 11 months after stepping down as president, Bertie's role as chairman of the upper house of parliament was elevated to the national leader of the Turkmen people, superseding his son's authority and dampening hopes for real change. From its early days as a land of nomads wandering the desert, through its forceful incorporation into the Russian and then Soviet empires, and into an era where its dictators have full reign to indulge in their marble and gold-infused delusions, Turkmenistan has endured a history marked by external domination and internal repression. As long as the global demand for the country's vast hydrocarbon resources continues and the government maintains absolute control over its production, significant improvements in the lives of the people seem out of reach. This stranglehold on the industry enables the government to comfortably sustain its self-serving regime, using its revenues to fund extensive security and propaganda efforts that effectively suppress any meaningful opposition. The absence of pressure, whether from within the government at the grassroots level or from the international community, suggests that economic and political liberalization, crucial for improving the lives of the population, is unlikely to occur anytime soon. Thus, it appears Turkmenistan is poised to remain one of the world's last totalitarian regimes, possibly even the last. Don't miss out on War Thunder, the
Yep, that is a terrible place to be. And that's what happens with these type of total these dictatorships. I don't know, that word doesn't want to come out right now, so I just use for these dictatorships, when they do it is by starving the people and not giving them access to education. So, and the people who, before somebody is a threat, they eliminate that person. So if you got that one person standing up, they take that person out before they get any type of momentum behind them. But I think it's hard if no other countries step in. I think it's hard for just the people to turn it around when unless everybody is all on one accord. But you got most people that are just thinking about their next meal. Which is done on purpose. Totalitarian. Okay. So we got another video here. I'm gonna pull it up in a second, of just some unbelievable courtroom behavior. So this is Inside Edition, and this video is titled Unbelievable Courtroom Behavior. And y'all know it's always entertaining watching anything court related. It's boring, but at the same time, it's entertaining.
This was unbelievable courtroom behavior.
Y'all remember?
In 2019, after a judge sentenced another judge to jail time, taking the defendant into custody wasn't so easy. A court officer had to drag her out. Former Cincinnati Judge Tracy Hunter was convicted of misusing her position as a judge to help her brother. The lawyer claimed her actions didn't break the law.
Judge Hunter has gotten up each morning not knowing whether that was going to be the day that she was going to have to go to jail.
After her appeals were exhausted, she faced the music in court.
What she wants is to control the facts. What she wants to do is write the law, and what she wants to do is play by her own set of rules right up until today.
In 2018, after two prisoners made a run for it, the judge yanked off his robe and chased after them. As they bolted, one suspect lost a shoe. As they headed for the stairs, the judge closed in. Eventually, one suspect found the exit and got away. The judge lunged at the other one and grabs him by the collar.
Kind of gave him a little shove as I was coming off the stairs to slow him down, and then just grabbed him and held him.
Put your hands behind your back. Take it right now.
From 2016, when a defendant willingly refused to go into custody, a judge shed his robe and helped the court officer restrain him. A few minutes earlier, things were heated in the Michigan courtroom between the judge and the suspect, who was reportedly in court for violating a personal protection order.
I want her to tell me to leave her alone. You know what? I told you to leave her alone.
Yep. So vengeance, that's for certain videos. When it comes to like body cam footage or public footage, like in courtrooms and stuff like that, I don't know how much that applies, because that footage that whatever platform is using has probably gotten it from another platform because it was public to begin with. Now, it's different when you're dealing with like full-on documentaries that somebody actually cultivated. But even in that footage that they have in certain documentaries or things like that, it's a collection of public footage that was already out that they just put together. So the issue I think I was having with Jubilee's channel earlier is because they cultivated that content like by themselves, I guess. But I don't know what the issue with Jubilee was, but when I actually do the recording for that video that I actually want to get out, I don't even know if I want to cover the story anymore from that channel. I actually do, but at the same time, you know, I'm not trying to pause every single second for everything that, you know, to make a point on every single thing. Some videos I feel like doing that, but other videos I just like to let it play through by itself.
And apparently that didn't get through loud and clear. So today, you're going to jail for 3 days.
When the suspect tried talking back to the judge, he dug his hole
I appreciate that.
93 days in the county jail. You want to go for a year?
Then he had some words for the judge.
I'm going to leave you alone. Tell me right now.
But the judge wasn't having it.
Put your hands behind your back. Take it right now.
In 2018, a handcuffed defendant fled a Utah courtroom and nosedived over a railing. Security guards rushed to catch him and were unsuccessful. The suspect broke his pelvis and leg and fractured his skull. In 2006, an Uber driver accused of slaying 6 people dived over a railing. Security guards rushed to catch him in a courtroom and nosedived over a railing. Security guards rushed to catch him
Right now.
In 2018, a handcuffed defendant fled a Utah courtroom and nosedived over a railing. Security guards rushed to catch him and were unsuccessful. The suspect broke his pelvis and leg and fractured his skull. In 2006, an Uber driver accused of slaying 6 people was dragged out of a Michigan court after lunging at a witness.
I seen him coming.
In the middle of her testimony, the defendant began interrupting her and rambling incoherently. The judge ordered him to stop.
You can be quiet in today's proceedings, okay? If you have anything to say, whisper to your attorney.
Then the suspect lunged out of his seat. He was restrained by deputies and dragged out of the courtroom. The defendant wasn't allowed to return to court and was forced to follow the proceedings on a closed-circuit link with 2 deputies restraining him. The suspects pleaded guilty to all of the charges and was sentenced to life in prison. In 2019, 2 brothers attacked their mother's killer in court. Dale Williams pleaded guilty to aggravated murder in the death of his ex-girlfriend. Her family was present at the sentencing in the Youngstown, Ohio courthouse when her 2 sons tried to get some justice of their own. One of the men lunged at Williams. Court officers tried to stop the attack, but the man was able to grab Williams by the feet and drag him. The victim's other son tried to help his brother, but was tased by an officer. Williams was taken out of the courtroom and his sentence was postponed.
Killed my mother, man. That was my mama.
During the sentencing for a 3-year-old girl's death, a brawl broke out in a Detroit courtroom when the girl's father attacked the man responsible for killing her. The courtroom was cleared and rescheduled. In 2018, a mother lunged at the man accused of murdering her 2 sons. Marie Wren said she couldn't control herself when she saw the suspect accused of stabbing her teenage sons and burning their bodies.
Ain't nobody gonna sit in court and hold their composure and have a demon turn around and laugh about them killing your kids.
The grieving mother was determined to get justice for her son.
Every Sunday you go to church and you pray and you try to forgive. The anger still builds up in your soul.
After the incident, the judge issued the mother a warning. In 2023, the suspect was found guilty on all 6 charges against him. In 2022, a grieving father tried to confront the men accused of killing his daughter, but was stopped by Tennessee court officers. The suspects were charged with first-degree murder in connection with the death of Caitlin Kaufman. Just seconds after the defendants were brought into the courtroom, the victim's father had to be physically escorted out of the courtroom, while the victim's mother sat in one of the benches and cried. One suspect was found guilty of second-degree murder. The co-defendant was acquitted. In 2023, a fight broke out in the middle of a courtroom hearing. It started after the mother of a murdered 16-year-old finished reading a prepared statement. She got up from the stand and walked towards the defendant. A bailiff blocked her path. It happened right after De Leon pleaded guilty to killing his ex-girlfriend, Diamond. Diamond was shot 22 times while walking her dog the year before.
And what he did it was horrible. Seeing my daughter there and looking at him that he did that and he's laughing in my face. It was very wrong and I'm so sorry for that.
In 2023, an accused killer attacked her own attorney in court. Taylor Shabiznis was accused of killing and mutilating her boyfriend the year before in Wisconsin. The 25-year-old was in court for a hearing when she attacked her defense attorney as he was sitting next to her. A court officer pulled her to the ground, but the defendant made it difficult for him to restrain her.
Leave the courtroom.
Afterwards, Shabiznis underwent evaluations by mental health professionals to determine if she was competent to stand trial. She was later sentenced and assigned a new attorney. In 2018, this judge stormed out of his courtroom and chased down a woman. Les Trent explains.
The magistrate was presiding over a trial when he heard a commotion coming from the hallway. It was the woman, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs because she had just been told that she was 30 minutes late to file court papers.
He took off after her, running through the hallways. When he finally caught up with her, he ordered her back to his courtroom. When she made a wrong turn, he steered her in the correct direction.
Yeah, I don't think a judge is supposed to do that. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to do that. I don't think they're supposed to leave their seat at all. But in these previous videos, I definitely feel what these people feel because I was in a similar situation. So,
never seen a judge behave in this manner. It's as if he decided he's got to be the bailiff and the sheriff and the judge and the prosecutor all rolled into one to chase after somebody, drag them back into the courtroom.
Inside his courtroom, he sentenced her to 3 days in jail for disrespectful and disruptive behavior.
He needs to be disbarred. He on a power trip, he a tyrant. For a judge to feel like he has the authority to chase somebody down and bring them back into his courtroom and this and that, you already know he's a tyrant. And I wonder what happened to him after this, because That's unheard of.
She tried to escape, but court officers detained her and led her away. The magistrate was later forced to resign for being out of order in his own courtroom.
What? That's the easy way out. Being forced to resign versus, actually having something happen. Like, come on now. But I'm glad to hear that after seeing what he just did.
In January of 2024, an out-of-control defendant who made a flying leap over the bench refused to appear in court. Stacey Galandi explains.
Officials tell Inside Edition that the defendant flat out refused to make the walk through the tunnel system that links the courthouse to the jail where he's being held. There's another hearing scheduled for next Tuesday.
I think everybody would agree he's definitely a threat. I mean, I've been doing this for over 4 decades. I've seen fights in the courtrooms. I've seen outbursts, but this was one of a kind.
The drama began when the suspect was being sentenced after pleading guilty to attempted battery. At first, he sounds reasonable as he asks for a break.
I feel that, I should be, sent to prison.
Then the judge notes his long criminal history.
Got a lot going on, sir.
I'm in a better place in my life.
The judge didn't buy his plea for probation.
But I think it's time that you get a taste of something else because I just can't with that history.
Then chaos erupted. He flew right over the bench. The judge went under the bench to protect herself. Minutes later, the judge reappeared. The suspect's mother said he was off his meds.
What he did, no shape, form, or fashion do I condone it. I was just as heartbreaking and shocked as anyone else. But like he told me, he just snapped.
He later returned to court, and the same judge sentenced him to a minimum 19 months for attempted battery. For Inside Edition Digital,
I wonder what he had before. If before that, he got 19 months for that attempt. So I wonder what she would give him for what he was originally charged with. Was it gonna be 6 months or something like that? That was wild. All right. So I got one more pulled up here. Let's share this tab. So I gotta introduce this video because I'm gonna chop up this stream later. So y'all bear with me. So what's up, AWB? I'm back at it. This is Denver Metro Audits channel. And the title of this video is Meltdown. Liberian loses it over a camera.
Yeah, I forgot my SD card. I know it wasn't in my.
I saw highlights of this, and it was not the highlights. I saw a short.
So you can take your
video, and I had to go ahead and see the whole thing. But as you can see, it's starting off. He got the Blue Lives Matter flag scarf over his face, so you already know what time he's on. He's probably one of those trolls that auditing videos and puts stuff in the comments saying, "Oh, just trolling," and tries to make it seem like cops are just doing their job and this and that and all that BS stuff. But you're gonna see how he behaves in real life, and he is a representation of who I see as a troll. Like the trolls in my comment section, I view them as people like him, like that, and y'all gonna see him.
Camera and go downstairs with it, or we could get security to handle this.
Okay, yeah, you want to get security. Look at all these kids around here, and he's saying effing and acting like this.
Because you're recording around children, and that's totally against everything I'm a belief. You know what?
Oh,
get the fuck out of here! Go!
So he's talking about the children or and their safety or whatever. He's saying, and that's how he's acting around children. That's how he's displaying himself around children. Those are all type of red flags to me.
Chad, calm down.
But
wow,
I don't believe in filming
we
children.
weren't filming kids. We weren't filming kids. Look, he's acting.
It is no way that you are that upset knowing that these people were not filming kids. They're not. There are no children in here right now. I don't know you. I don't even know what he's talking about.
Acting up again. Hey guys, Denver Metro Audits here. We are at the Aurora Public Library, and I got MLH and D-Trails with me today.
What's up? We're freezing, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I forgot my SD card. I didn't know it wasn't in my camera, so I left these guys out in the cold to go get it.
And that side. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. What you videoing for?
Oh, just taking some video.
Oh. Okay.
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 Now, if you guys videoing me, make sure you give me on my good side. Seriously.
Hey, that's really cool. You're so far so good.
Okay.
That's how you handle it. She did a great job. Okay, she's caught off guard. She sees the camera. You know, she makes a joke or whatever. That's the way you handle it. So if that person that works in the library ever sees this video, I want them to know you did a great job. That's how you show up. And it wouldn't be, this would not turn into something bigger than it is. Nobody's going to antagonize you. Nobody's going to mess with you most times. Like we do have some people who look for a more entertaining interaction, but most times that's not what we're going in there to do. We're going in there just to document and make sure our rights are respected. And they were. She did a great job. And I would actually like going to a library like that because I see that the people there respect your rights and they don't make big issues out of nothing.
I think it's weird to see you without your glasses on.
I know, man. This help you out, Damien?
Yeah. You know when like somebody has a beard and they shave or something like that? Yeah.
No children being filmed still. So I don't know what he was talking about. Youth services, he turned away.
What's our attention?
That's the youth services area?
Uh-huh.
That's the youth services area?
Yep.
So that's the children's area?
Uh-huh.
So after he had already turned away, he points in like that. This is what I don't get. After you see him already turn away, you decide to emphasize the fact that, oh, that's the youth area, as if he was trying to film that area when he had obviously turned away already. But even if he wanted to film that area, it's well within your rights, but nobody wants to do that. That's the thing. It's still in your rights to do it. Just nobody wants to do that. Nobody's going to be a creep and just go try to film kids. Like, I don't know nobody who's going to do that. Not openly, you know, at least. If they're going to be weird enough to do that, they're not going to do it with big news cameras going around and making yourself very visible. Like, come on.
So I'm just letting you know where you're headed.
Okay. Why would you tell me that?
Well, because you're filming.
Okay.
You're filming minors without a consent.
All right. Well, is there a law against that?
Well, what I'm asking you, did you know that's what you were doing? That's what I said.
You can.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to record kids, but I mean, if they're inadvertently in the camera,
Okay.
there's nothing I can do about that.
I'm just checking to see if you knew that. I'm just trying to make sure.
All right. Yeah, I got you.
It's actually not against the law to record people in public. Minors without their parents' consent, yes, it is.
No, it's not, sir.
See, he should have just left it alone. You don't know what you're talking about. You should say, hey, I don't know what you have going on. You know, that's just, I'm just letting you know that's the kids' area. If you want to say that, okay, cool. But the thing is, he hadn't already turned away from that area. That's why I don't know what his point is right here. He had already turned the camera away.
I'm not gonna argue with you, fellas. I'm just trying to.
Thanks for not arguing, because I mean, it's the law is the law, regardless of how you interpret it. So
Policy and law is two different things, correct?
exactly. So
Okay.
it's not against the law to record
But
minors.
policy and law is two different things, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
I wonder, does he know that? He was better off just not saying nothing or leaving it where it was. Now, you know, he got into a little exchange, and now he looks crazy. He talking about policy and law is different, right? Yeah. The person going in there exercising their rights definitely knows that.
But you said it was illegal to record them, right?
No, I said policy and law is two different things.
Yeah, but you said that we're not allowed to record the juveniles. Is that what you said?
I said, did you know about it? That's what I asked. I asked a question.
Okay.
And you said,
You asked me if I knew where I was.
Yeah, just at this point, I would have left it alone. I wouldn't have got into it more, but obviously he wanted to make sure this guy was educated, but I wouldn't have took it past this point because I see that he's trying to get, now he realized that he doesn't know what he's talking about, so he's trying to get away from it. But you know,
I was going into the youth area, right?
yeah, I was just letting you know what area you were going in. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thanks for letting us know.
Okay.
Okay. Right.
That was interesting.
So this is the youth area in here that the guy was telling me about.
Oh,
how's it going, man?
What's going on?
So this is the guy actually working in the youth area. Wow, that's kind of scary. That is kind of scary. I thought he was just somebody in, like, just that works in the library. I didn't know this guy actually works in the youth department. They need to get him out of there ASAP.
Oh, not much. Just taking.
And there's no kids in there. And what message is he sending to these kids wearing this Blue Lives Matter flag or this thin blue line flag on his face? What message are you trying to get to the children?
Some footage over here.
Could you imagine the things that he's trying to instill in them? Nah, that guy needs to go.
Here.
About what?
I don't know yet.
All right. I know you have the right to record, but this is a kid's area. It's a little shaky for you to be recording. All right. I know you have the right to record, but this is a kid's area.
I don't know yet.
All right. I know you have the right to record.
Hold on, y'all. So if I had done this video, I would have had this replay like 3 times.
All right. I know you have the right to record, but this is a kid's area. It's a little shaky for you to be recording.
It's not shaky at all. I mean, the law's black and white, so I'm not recording.
Yeah, but there are children underage here.
Yeah.
So you can take your camera and go downstairs with it, or we could get security to handle this.
Okay, yeah, if you want to get security. So we got the guy with the blue line bandana on his face.
Yeah.
So of course, he's the one to give me crap about
Oh, of course I am.
I think walking like.
So we got this guy going to go get security on me because I'm in here where the children are. It's a library. There's going to be children all over the place.
Your boss. Your boss.
No, Kate's out of
So we got the
town.
blue line guy here freaking out, acting a little unprofessional, getting a little irate, throwing a tantrum.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
It's because you're upset.
I am getting upset.
Crazy. This guy got really upset.
But they told him
to
that
his cave here.
And he went in to go talk to somebody if it's a boss or something over there.
A boss?
I guess he's like, "Hey, Karen, we got some guy with a camera in here." But you know, the thing is, MLH, it's like that. I said it in one of my other videos. It's like, okay, when I go to the park and I record my nephew's sports games, am I breaking the law?
No.
I mean, and we're not in here trying to record kids anyways. I came in here and I put my camera straight on him. I wasn't recording kids.
Right.
But if a kid is inadvertently in my camera, that's not illegal. It's not a crime.
And I heard him go up there all huffy to the security guard, and I was like, oh boy, we got one of those. We got a, what do they call it, a Darren? Darren?
Yeah. He's a Darren here.
I got a picture too, buddy.
Yeah, go ahead. It's fine. You can take pictures.
See, that's the thing that they don't realize, that once you're in your official capacity of that job, you don't have the right to do this. So he doesn't actually have the right to do this because of his position. And now that is a public record. So Denver Metro Audits can now FOIA request this record. And if he deletes this record out of his phone, then that is an actual crime.
But you're not afraid of it.
But I don't understand. So you got an issue with them recording in public or in this space. So your answer to that, since you went to talk to all these people and they tell you that there's nothing you can do about it, they're well within their rights. He decides that he's going to film in that same area. Now he is doing what he's upset about. That's what sense does that make?
The camera.
And say hi to YouTube because you're live.
Welcome to the 1A movement, man.
Okay. Well, you guys
So we got this guy who's using the F word around children, and he just was concerned with me recording children. Yet he's using the F word around children.
And he's got his camera on some kids in the backyard.
I don't have camera on the kids. I'm actually.
I don't have our
professional
camera
with
on the kids either. I never did.
Can you please leave, or I'll call the fucking police and have them get you out of here?
Look at all these kids around here, and he's saying effing and acting like this.
Because you're recording around children, and
He's upset that he can't do anything about it. And I don't think the real issue is him recording around children. I think he just doesn't want to be on camera for some reason, or he doesn't like people exercising their rights or something. I don't know what it is about his situation, but it's raising a lot of red flags to me.
It's around here.
Can you please leave, or I'll call the fucking police and have them get you out of here?
Look at all these kids around here, and he's saying effing and acting like this.
Because you're recording around children, and that's totally against everything I'm a belief. You know what?
Oh,
get the fuck out of here! Go!
Look at him.
Fuck out of here! Go! Get the fuck out of here! Everything I'm a belief. You know what?
Oh,
get the fuck out of here! Go!
Chad, calm down, Chad.
Go!
Chad, calm down, Chad.
There is
Wow.
I guess we just had a mom. She just complained that you filmed her kid back there.
No.
Is it child?
We weren't filming children. I never even filmed a child.
Okay, so
I came in here and was recording him.
okay, so that's what I don't know. So
He
she
made contact.
Yeah, she's calling the Aurora police because she said you're filming. her
Okay,
kid.
well, we'll wait.
Yeah,
I came in here and was recording him.
Okay.
Children, I never.
Did you filmed her kid back there? No. Just had a mom.
Wow.
So Chad, I keep backing it up because this is hilarious. But Chad is the fire starter. You know, he's the one that's trying to yell out and make it seem like it's more than what it is, or making it seem like what it's not. Come on.
Get the fuck out of here! Go!
Whoa. Chad, calm down, Chad.
There is,
Wow.
I guess we just had a mom. She just complained that you filmed her kid back there.
No,
that's
been filming any
Is it child?
We weren't filming children.
No, they didn't. Nothing. This security lady right here she really doesn't want to be involved in this. And I would have actually talked to her like, I know you really don't want to be involved in this, but he's just making, I know he's making your job hard right now. And I wish you did. I would just have to talk to her because she just seems like she just wants to do her job and not make things a big issue. She was cool when he first came in, kind of thrown off, but she knows that, hey, you're not doing nothing wrong. It's something different. Okay, you're recording. That's it.
Children. I never even filmed a child.
Okay, so
I came in here and was recording him.
okay, so that's what I don't know. So
You made contact.
Yeah, she's calling the Aurora police because she said you're filming.
Okay, well, we'll wait till the police get here then. That's ridiculous.
Just show him. Can you show him?
And show what?
Just show the officer what you let her know what you filmed.
Yeah,
I mean,
Do you guys know exactly what you filmed?
She is cool.
It's okay. It's okay. You
no,
guys-
public space and public
Oh, I know.
photography is
The kids
constitutionally
are.
protected
That's
activity.
true. That's true.
They're just coming to
Just,
get
know,
photography
I
of
know.
the building. And
You know,
This lady definitely doesn't want to be involved in this, but don't worry, you did a great job here. When this video comes out, people are gonna, well, when it did come out, I know people called this librarian but this lady did a great job.
there are people
So,
right now are on edge.
here's the
Got a
thing.
kid abducted. They don't know.
Yeah,
who
man,
you
we
guys are,
never
so-
were recording children, even though we have the legal right to. We weren't going to record children. We were recording him, and he was upset
guys
that we
have
were
a-
recording.
So I was wondering why all the kids was like, it's kind of.
well, probably because he's yelling and screaming at us. and-
No, they have three gentlemen or whatever. What I just was told. I saw you guys, but I was just told there's three
Yeah,
creepy
you were-
guys in the back in the children's area filming. You guys is 2021. I understand that.
Yeah,
People
cameras
are
are
a little
everywhere,
on
yep.
edge. Parents
Well,
are
that
on
guy
edge.
was using the F word several times around the children. Yet
That
he's
part
concerned.
we definitely will address that, but at this point, I'm addressing the situation of parents are feeling like they see three guys filming their kids. See, that is a kid. She is a child. Do not film her.
Man,
Well,
don't
there's
tell us to
another-
not film children, man. That's not. You can't tell us to not film children. Okay.
She was doing good up until that point. I had y'all see, I had all the good things to say up until that point. But what I think really is that I would just wouldn't have engaged with. I would have talked to her civilly, but at some point I would have just kind of just let things play out.
We already told you that we're not here to do that. We're already here. We already told you we're not here to do that. But don't give us unlawful directives like that.
We're telling if you
Okay.
want to film what you want to film, you can.
Yeah, we can film anything that we can see in here,
Get
man.
my great side though when you do. Okay. Thank you.
Well, you had a great side until you started giving me unlawful directives like that.
Okay.
In the beginning, you were
You
cool.
can't come back this way. So.
I would never go back there.
All right. Well, you guys have a great day. I'll be back.
Okay.
So we got the blue line flag guy.
I had high hope for her. She was doing great.
He was using the F-bomb around the kids because he's upset with me having a camera in there, even though he was recording around the kids too. He said we were on YouTube Live. So.
And D Trails. And this, apparently he's some sort of worker for this place. We have to
wait for the cops to show up.
So they called the police on us. And we thought, we had a couple of places to go. We stopped in the library first. We thought for sure this would be the least confrontational one, but me and libraries, guys. So.
Great.
I'm
What's
live
up?
with DMA. What's up? There's DMA. What's up?
Dude, that guy was upset that we were in there recording around kids. We weren't recording the kids. We were just recording around them. And he freaked out. Of course, he has the blue line flag mask on.
Right.
And then he's over there using the F-bomb, F in this.
I
get
know,
the
that
F
was
out of here.
crazy.
around the kids too.
I know.
You just have a camera, and then he comes out and records us and says we're on YouTube Live.
I'm like,
around the
great.
kids.
I told him, great. Welcome to the 1A movement.
And it's like, dude, he's like, well, I'm not recording kids, he said. And we're like, well, we're not either. You know,
Right.
that guy is just, he shouldn't be working there. He shouldn't be working around children. If he's over there acting like that, he grabbed his bottle and threw it and started yelling
I
at
thought he
us.
was going to, I honestly, DMA, I thought he was going to throw it at me.
I thought he was going to, I mean, luckily there's 3 of us because it could be like a Belmar Library incident where it turns into a mob against us or something.
I mean, this was crazy, y'all.
The police are coming.
The police are on their way, so that's why I went live. Just so you guys
down the stairs.
This dude just went absolutely ballistic. It looked like he was going to throw his water bottle. He broke his water bottle.
Did he break it?
On the floor.
Is there water on the ground? Let's go check it out.
And I'll show you guys the aftermath of this. This was.
Oh, here he is.
This is the guy right here, guys.
They have to say 4 children.
We don't even have a policy.
But hold on. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm the manager of public services
Okay.
For the whole library thing.
All right.
Is there anything?
So he's, you know, he in trouble right now. I guess he tried to plead his case, but man, you definitely cannot. You made this library look bad, and she knows that she's gonna have to deal with this.
Can do to help you?
I would like to know why he went ballistic and was using a lot of profane language around the kids in this area. I mean,
Because you were filming kids, and I don't believe in filming children.
We weren't filming kids. We weren't filming kids. Look, he's acting up again.
Put that on your YouTube channel.
Dude.
Don't get you shut down like that. You
wow.
on your YouTube channel.
We weren't filming kids. Look, he's acting.
He don't know. He just making the video. He making the video more than what it would have been. Like nobody would even known who you were. It would never been no focus on you. But now the entire focus of this video is him.
Acting up again.
Put that on your YouTube channel.
Dude.
Don't get you shut down like that. You
wow.
Yeah, someone needs to go home today, I think.
Okay, so I would be surprised if that guy still has his job after this. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
It's absolutely crazy that they hire people like that to work and with kids.
Yeah.
You know, just crazy.
Can I get your name, ma'am, again?
My name, Joanna McNeil,
Joanna McNeil. Okay,
manager of public services.
gotcha. So you're like the manager of this branch here?
I'm the manager of all the branches, so I'm not the executive director. I report to her, and all the branch supervisors report to me.
Gotcha.
So at Central, Martin Luther King, Hoffman, the other branches that we have.
Happen to be here today? Is that...
No, I'm always, listen, I work here.
always here?
So the admin, this is the building that the
This is the
admin.
central
Yes.
library.
Yeah. Yeah, we're upstairs on the second floor.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that guy. I came in on the tail end of it, but I just saw him throw his bottle and he was yelling.
This is crazy, guys.
Accusing us of things that we're not even doing.
Well,
now the police are called, I believe.
Yeah, the police have been called on us for some reason. I don't quite get it. I mean, if anything, this guy made threatening gestures at me, which I have recorded on camera. And I'm still shaking.
Yeah, my adrenaline's pumping too.
Yeah, I think we've all got a lot of adrenaline
I thought that
going.
guy was gonna just attack us.
You're shaking? He's about smaller than you.
Really?
Okay.
Are you serious?
So.
That's it. Excuse me?
No comments. Okay.
I was gonna.
Yeah, my adrenaline's pumping too.
Yeah, I think we've all got a lot of adrenaline
I thought
going.
that guy was gonna just attack us.
You're shaking? He's about smaller than you.
Really?
Okay.
Are you serious?
So.
That's it. Excuse me?
No comments.
Really?
Everybody just get.
Did you
get
just
back to
did she
work
just
and
say
do
what
their
I
job.
thought? I
Okay,
think she
just
said?
get
Yeah,
on
she
with your
did.
job. These people are allowed to film in here. It's a public place.
Wow.
So we're just going to let them film.
This is,
And these people are allowed to film in here. It's a public place.
wow. I think she
just
said.
get
Yeah,
on
she
with your
did.
job. These people are allowed to film in here. It's a public place.
Wow.
So we're just going to let them film.
This is,
And we'll just get on with our work.
control here in Aurora.
Thank you.
This is crazy.
Appreciate that, ma'am.
At least there's one person. Maybe that's probably
Yeah.
why you're in charge.
Well, I'm not totally in charge, but
Mostly.
Wow.
I think I have more experience in libraries. And
So we got this lady over here who just can't stand the fact that we're in here either. You know, we're just peaceful people. That's all. We just came in here because we're doing a little story in the library, and that's it. You know? We're not coming in here to record kids. I mean, you know, not that it's illegal to record kids. I mean, I record my nephew's sports games all the time, and that's not illegal, right?
This is the only sane person in this library. It appears, man. This is crazy. She's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. What was your name again?
Joanna.
Joanna. Thank you.
Joanna. Her name's Joanna too. My gosh, that's crazy. We know another Joanna at Belmar Library.
Oh.
She's in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
She was a manager over there too. So that's just funny. It's a little inside joke.
Okay.
But you're much better than she was. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we like you.
I mean, is there anything else? Do you have any questions? Is there anything we can do to help you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if the police get here and you want to just tell them that, you know,
Yeah.
we're allowed to be in here and stuff, and
Absolutely.
we're not trying to hang out forever and cause a scene. We just want to peacefully
No,
record and we'll be on our way.
Yeah, I'll let them know.
Okay.
Maybe 10 minutes.
I think they probably know anyway. But...
You're right. All right. Well, thanks, Joanna.
Yeah, thank you for your
She did a great job. I mean, and that's why you wouldn't have managers like this, because anything else is crazy. Like, she knows this, but security, and I believe all of the rest of the people knew that too. They just don't like it. That's the thing. They just don't like it.
I appreciate that, Joe.
And they don't realize that
That's refreshing to have Joanna here that knows the law and is respectful.
He literally had the water bottle like he was gonna hit me.
Dude.
Like,
he was shaking mad.
He was so mad. I said, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna play video games, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, well, hey, DMA, do you want to go out? D Trails, you want to go out? You know, go out and do some stuff. And this happens. Holy hell, guys! It is absolutely insane what happened here. I'm still kind of shaking, bro. Like, whew.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally thought that guy was going to throw that water bottle and hit me.
I think he wanted to. And I think if we were out on the streets, he definitely would have. And here's the thing, guys, that he was upset about us recording kids. We weren't recording kids. But anyways, regardless if you're recording a kid, his worries are overblown. Okay.
Yeah.
Kids are recorded every time they leave their house, just like you and I are. Right. It's no bearing. You know, like I said, I record my nephew's sports games and I don't have their consent. They're in public, right? We're not using this footage for nefarious use. We're just here taking a tour of the lobby. And, you know, if I don't have kids, but if I had kids or my nephews or whatever, if there was a man with a camera, I mean, who cares? It's not a big deal, man. You're recorded constantly. Security cameras in use. So we got security cameras in use, MLH.
Okay, good.
So the kids are being recorded by them, right?
Right. Yeah, you can see, you know, still there.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Good. Look at that. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, he waves at us with a smile, right? No big deal. Oh, the cops are here, guys. Did you just tell them? Did they come in here?
They just came into the lobby area, and I said you don't need to come in, but they already knew. They were telling us that you're perfectly entitled to come in here and
Okay.
film.
Is there like a complaint process for that employee? I have no idea his name or.
We have complaint cards, and you would start with that.
Could we get 3 complaint forms, please?
3.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Because I'm new, I don't know exactly where they are.
Okay, no problem.
So Joanna's been great, guys. There's the police, the Aurora police are out there. Let's go take a look. So they came in deep, but you know, they left right away. So, and they already knew the law too. So the security guards are the ones that called the police on us. So they came with 4 officers.
I have time to do.
So these guys seem to be cool. They gave me a couple waves. I know a lot of guys don't like Aurora cops, but these guys are cool. They gave me some waves and some head nods, you know.
Right. So they were okay.
Yeah, they were cool. They already knew what time it was, so. Hey, Joanna, we're about to head out of here, but we just wanted to get Chad's name. Can we get his last name?
To be honest, I don't even know his last name, and that's super honest truth.
Okay, guys, I feel like Joanna is protecting Chad right here. She doesn't know his last name, but she could have easily found out. And if any of us had acted the way that he did, we would have been leaving in handcuffs. So how come she didn't invite the police in to come have Chad arrested? How come he was allowed to remain in the back in solitude until we left? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Can you tell us who was the individual that called the police on us?
I do not know.
Do you know?
It wasn't anybody here.
I hope
It wasn't anybody here. It was.
I hope they follow up with that. But so with the police leaving that fast, they weren't able to get the incident report or the incident number, which now they can't get the 911 call that brought them out there. Or any body cam footage that was attached to it.
Is a patron?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was a parent.
A parent?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Okay, you're welcome.
We really appreciate you.
Just drop them off at the front desk when you want.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
You too.
You too. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna get out of here.
All right. You guys stay safe.
You too. So have a happy Thanksgiving,
You as well.
and just hopefully that you learned today that it's not illegal for us to record children. Okay.
Yeah, we did. Thank you for that.
Okay. All right. Have a great one.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I don't think that
All right,
was
guys.
very funny.
One education at a time, like I always say. One education at a time.
I think the only reason that he actually did that is because of what last thing she had said about, telling him that, she kind of tried to give him a directive. And I think that's what he was just wanting to be a little bit petty with her for that. But
this is the craziest I've ever seen anybody in any library go.
Even more than Belmar? Yeah, I guess it was.
More than Belmar.
But he wasn't actually physically assaulting us. It was more he was just acting completely irate and throwing stuff and cussing.
Yeah, it's comparable. And there were kids that were really upset, not by our behavior, but by this employee's behavior. Thankfully, Joanna works here because she de-escalated everything. This is not the Joanna from the Belmar library. This is Joanna from the Aurora Public Library here.
Even not knowing the context of what was going on, that guy was obviously out of control. I mean, he was physically shaking from anger. He's cursing while there were still kids around at that point. No one had cleared out of the area really at that point. He's insulting us, just completely unprofessional behavior, completely just childish, really. I mean, I guess in a sense he should have been in the kid zone.
That gentleman is completely unprofessional, doesn't have any business working around kids, doesn't know the law, ignorant of the law. Like I always say, guys, one education at a time, and that's what we're here to do. I went and talked to that lady. I said, hopefully now you'll know that it's not against the law for us to record juveniles. And she actually, her pride and ego wasn't in the way. And she said, yeah, we did learn that. And so that was great. That was a win for us. The next thing we need to do is just make sure that guy gets fired, because I'm not going to stop until I know that guy is no longer employed.
all right, y'all. Yeah, real though. Yeah. Feels about it. So yeah, so next time I'm gonna catch the follow-up video for that. I'm sure you followed up on that. That was crazy. I can't believe they got people like that working in the kid area. I think they need to have a better evaluation or criteria or something, so you don't have that type of person around, that unhinged, that would go crazy throwing his water bottle. His water bottle could have broke it, hit somebody, you know, he throwing around chairs, kicking stuff, like he basically threw a tantrum, you know, and saying they have him working around. And can you imagine him the next day? If he did have a next day, what does that day look like? What are the conversations that he's having after that? Like, come on. But anyway, so that's gonna wrap up this stream. I appreciate y'all. Remember, the goal is 100 members. So yeah, with that being said, AWB, I'm out.